This is the Cafe Racer Podcast, episode 120 for November 19th, 2017. I am Daddy No Fun.
And I'm Crash.
Well, how you doing, buddy?
All right, I just noticed oh, my recorder's showing like one little bar for the battery. I wonder if I have a cable to plug in with it for that. So yeah, I'm doing that now. Nothing like a little
Plug
during
it
the
in.
show tech.
We'll take a pause when you're ready to plug it in.
Yeah.
So we were both kind of out of town, sort of, maybe. Like, look at my hair, man. My God.
It's looking good. I think it looks all right. I like the little whoosh.
I need a haircut badly. Yeah, whoosh is from having gel in it and sleeping in a plane or trying to sleep in a plane.
Yeah.
How was the, so you went on a little excursion to
I did.
IMS Long Beach, right?
Yeah, it was oh man, starting to sound like Charlie Day. Anyway, I put in for press credentials for me and Jess, pretty much as soon as they were open to be applied for, and didn't think I was gonna go because I had to work on Friday, and like Friday was the press day, and that's the day when, to be honest with you, I kind of want to meet a lot of the press people about as much as I want to see the the bike stuff because there's there's a ton of motorcycle famous in the industry press people that go to the press day, and I was like, oh, I could meet that guy. That might be kind of cool. But I didn't think I'd go because we were gonna have the kids all weekend, and I just had to work. Jess had to work, so then yesterday, Friday, I kept seeing stuff on Instagram, and I'm like, man, I really want to go. I can't go though. And then yesterday, Jess and I were like, well, wait, we could just get all of our errands and stuff done today, Saturday, and then just drive up Sunday and go to the show and, see what all these Instagrammers are freaking talking about. So we did. And, well, by the way, the recorder is now powered, everyone. We can all calm down. The long national nightmare is over. This show might actually get recorded properly.
Thank God.
Anyway, crisis averted. I haven't been to a public day of a show in a while, except for, not of a show. Like, I've been to other stuff where there wasn't like a press day, but there was just a crowd of people and it was fine. But I haven't been to a trade show full of people, I don't know, in 5 or 6 years maybe. And I'm spoiled. Like,
because we've been just exclusively doing press days at AIM and then leaving.
yeah. And like, this is day 3 of the IMS. Not everybody, but a lot of people are burnt out. Like, you could see it, and I think that some of them, I don't know for sure, but I suspect that some of them saw my press tag and just ignored me because I was not the focus that day. I didn't get like a strong impression of that, but there were definitely a handful of booths that we went into where like people were kind of like engaging. Like, say we walk into Kawasaki's booth. I'm using them as an example. I didn't really talk to them. I didn't seek out anyone, but like people would like kind of like come out of their little booth area and be like, oh, hey, they see you looking at one of their motorcycles. They come walking over. Hey, what's up? You want to learn about this bike or whatever. Nobody did that to me. But they were doing that to other people. And I didn't know, I was like to myself, I wonder if that's because I have a press pass right now and it's, color coded on my little badge holder thing that I've got that I'm press. I don't know if they're like intentionally leaving me alone.
I think it's probably a combination of both, them being burned out, them trying to focus on the consumer. So, and let me ask you, because when I went to IMS Miami, it was a very different experience. It was more like a bike week kind of thing. It was pretty much exclusively cruiser stuff, and they had a lot of vendors selling things there. So at IMS Long Beach during the public days, are they selling like, gear?
Yeah. So, uh, if you kind of think of the show floor divided up into two sections, there's um like the big dealerships, just kind of like at AIM, or not big dealer, the big manufacturers, just like at AIM, how like BMW would have a booth and KTM had a booth. They were, I actually went to their booth twice. The first time I went to their booth was very early at the beginning of the show. They were almost the first place I went. And um, me and Jess got to sit on a bike. I'll talk about that later. We got to sit on a bike. It was fun, cool. We walked away. Nobody said a word to us really. It was kind of nice.
Mhm,
We came back to the booth at the end of the day because I was like, oh, I want to go look more closely at that super adventure.
mhm.
And so we walked back and I got the whole spiel. Like the guy was like, you probably heard this on the press day. I was like, I actually wasn't at the press day. He goes, oh, cool. We'll hop on. I'll go through the whole bike with you. And he like, ran down basically the told me the brochure, explained to me how things worked. And there was on the little TFT screen was like a demo, uh,
That's kinda cool.
showing. So it was like, as he was talking, it wasn't completely timed up, but like I would see the things he was talking about
Mhm.
as they were kind of popping up on the screen. It made me like getting to sit there for 5 minutes on the super adventure
This is the
made
R
me
though,
really,
right?
yeah, um, made me really want one. um,
That's why I told you, don't go to the demo day.
that thing's crazy. Yeah, I can't. Fortunately for my wallet, I guess I can't ride a motorcycle right now because I had surgery. Um, and so I wasn't able to go ride anything, but sitting on it was very nice. I have not really given KTM much thought until recently, and man, that really, but sitting on both KTM's that I sat on with Jess really made me strongly consider one as a future option. So yeah, you've got the
Damn,
main,
that's Spencer Hill.
right, mother man.
It's
He was he
yeah.
talked so much crap about his KTM being
He
broken
sat
all the
there
time, and you and I are both like, "I want one."
yeah, and then he goes and then and I've said this a million times, like, "The things eat themselves from the inside out, and blah, 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 and it's been in the shop, but you gotta get one."
Yeah,
You know, and really, honestly, mine's been super dependable, more so
good,
than the Stelvio. We had a couple questions on, was it Slack, I think, or
probably.
maybe email, but someone was asking me about, the dependability of the Moto Guzzi bikes. Well, the new bikes are really dependable, they're great. The old ones had some electronic gremlins, but the Stelvio, you know, the problems I had with it were not insurmountable, and they were like the auxiliary lights were those Hella 4s, and they were crap, the
Yeah,
wiring would rub through. That's not a Moto Guzzi issue, that's a fact that they sourced out a shit auxiliary light.
yeah,
The valve timing had to be done every 6,000 miles, which wasn't a big deal. Easy to do on that bike, but the KTM has been super solid. I mean,
yeah,
nothing really other than the little key lock thing for the seat when I first got it broke, and that was a quick fix. You know, it they're great bikes. In cost wise, I think it's not as, affordable as, like, the Honda, the new Africa Twin, but
yeah,
it's also not really up there with BMW money either.
yeah.
So
So
it's kinda between.
something I was looking at, and I've been after riding that K1600 from BMW, I've been kind of like shopping BMWs a little bit, and they really do the car style vehicle purchasing thing. Like, oh, you've got like a base model, and then we've got this package, and whatever. And so by the time I was done pricing out, like say an R1200 RT with what I thought I wanted on it, it took a $20,000 bike up 4 grand.
This is the problem too because you can't piecemeal options in BMW.
Yeah.
Everything
And
comes in a package.
KTM, it's like, oh, we built this bike. It has a billion things, and that's how it comes.
Yeah, there's only a couple options you can buy, and one
Right.
of them's like the hill assist control, hill control assist,
Yeah.
and, there's another one, I forgot what it was, but it was stuff that I didn't and you don't here's the other thing too is the bike already has it. So it's just a matter of them going and flashing the ECU and turning it on.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get a bike, and if you decide later on you want that hill assist control, you can go to the dealership and say add it, and they'll turn it on. There was another option too. I forgot what it was, but it was an electronic option as well. And then they have a dongle that you can buy for, they say, for bad fuel, and what it does is it when you turn off the traction control, it stays off. So
Yeah.
right now, like if you go into off-road mode, turn off the traction control and turn off the ABS, as soon as you shut the bike off, turn it back on, it resets. That was a pain in the ass when you're off-road all
Yeah,
day
I mean,
stopping.
if you're on like a serious off-road thing, like there's a good chance you're dropping that bike every couple of minutes, even momentarily, and then you go turn it off, turn it back
Yeah.
on, blah blah blah.
So this dongle is just a simple plug and play thing, and then that turns that off, and it does like flash something on the screen saying race mode only or something like that, or off-road mode only. But yeah, for the money, you're going to get a lot of things in the KTM that they're going to charge you extra in the BMW. Granted, the fit and finish on the BMW is better. The bike, the accessory package is a little bit wider ranging, especially with the Wonder Wheel control, which is really kind of cool. I like that. And the
It's a
fact
really
that,
nice system.
yeah, it is. And the fact that BMW has integrated that into the GPS as well. So when you buy one of the BMW GPSs that comes from Garmin, that all integrates into the Wonder Wheel. So everything's kind of
Yeah.
right there at your fingertips. But
Um,
KTM's getting
something.
there, man. Every time they come out with another model, there's, like the TFT screen and
Yeah, the TFT screen on the Super Adventure R was really nice. I rode a bike with a TFT screen a couple weeks ago. It was a Triumph, and I really, really enjoyed it. The I don't know if your bike has it. The Adventure R has a spot for your phone.
no,
I don't know
my
if you've seen it. So, sort of like in between a crevice in between the steering head, like the part of the frame, and then the fairing. There's a little pocket, like a waterproof box that pops open, and there's a USB connector in there. You can drop your phone in there, plug it in, and then um, it's in a waterproof stored, place, so you don't have to have it on your person if you don't want. Um, like say you aren't wearing waterproof gear or whatever, I don't know. Um, but like so you throw it in there, and they said that in I think January or whatever, they're actually releasing a KTM app that will have that will use the GPS signal from your phone to give you GPS on the TFT screen.
oh, that's really cool.
So it'll be using your phone as the actual GPS receiver, but the software and everything is going through the app and just, showing it to your display on the motorcycle. So the screen that's already there showing you your time, I mean your speed and your RPM and all that sort of stuff will just have the navigation built in.
That'd be really cool. With that TFT screen, there's really no reason why they can't integrate Apple CarPlay.
Yeah, they have their own. I don't know if it might use CarPlay. I don't know. They have this thing called KTM my something, my phone, my drive, something like that. That allows your phone to Bluetooth connect to the motorcycle, and you can answer calls or
This
see
is getting really
texts
cool.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Aprilia's got some
Um,
sort of app too that they run on the phone that connects Bluetooth in, and I think Moto Guzzi was talking about the same thing. But
yeah.
yeah, they're
The
great. So
K-
what else did you see besides KTM?
so obviously I spent a lot of time at KTM. I got Jess to sit on a lot of bikes with me, and then I also like basically every small stature motorcycle we could find.
Right.
I got her to sit on and tell me what she thought. So um really quick, so I'll go back really quick because we kind of rabbit holed the two different sides of the show. You've got like the major dealers or the major manufacturers section, and then you've got like the small shops. And there were a lot of people selling gear, like small. Like I saw Lee Parks there. His little company was there, selling Lee Parks Designs gloves, and I think also talking about the Total Control motorcycle safety courses and everything. Um, and Lee himself was there. It was kind of funny. I was looking at this wall of gloves. I was like, those look like Lee Parks gloves. I was like, oh, that's Lee. Yeah, those are Lee Parks gloves. Cool. We chatted for a bit. Uh,
He's a
there's somebody,
character.
yeah, there was somebody there selling jerky. Um, there were a bunch of people selling like magnetic bracelets and stuff.
See, that's what I got at the Miami show. Like,
Yeah,
there was a lot
yeah,
of extra crap there.
there was. There were, I think, 3 different manufacturers of custom made on the spot earplugs. And we're walking through this little aisle and I see some, and right at the same moment Jess goes, "Oh, hey, there's the Motoskivvies people," directly across the little aisle. And I look and I wave at Sean, and I was like thinking, okay, cool, I'll turn back, I'll talk to Sean in a minute. I'm really interested in these custom made earbud, earplug things. So I stand in line behind like 3 people, um, while they all go through the line, and I'm standing there looking at everything. Like I want to ask, a few questions. How much are they? Whatever. And before I can say anything, this lady like runs up, like with her little box of ones that she bought a year ago, and she's like, she like just, I don't even have a chance to say anything. She's like, "I bought these a year ago, and I've called you literally 100 times." And she goes on this big rant about how she couldn't get in touch with them. She needed to have an adjustment made or something, and she wants her money back. And they were like, really, they were awkward about it. Like, instead of just being like, "Okay, yep, sorry about that, ma'am, our problem," like the phone answering service wasn't working, whatever. They said that, but they were also just like, the guy threw like his granddad under the bus, which was weird. He's like, "Yeah, it was my granddad's responsibility. I guess he never did that." And they gave her 60 bucks back, and she went on her way. And then I was the next person, and they just like completely ignored me.
Why? Because
Um,
press pass
I have
bad?
no idea. I didn't speak to them. They turned to talk to someone else that was standing there, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, F this." And I turned and went and talked to Sean. I didn't know. I found out Sean's wife, her name is Shauna, which is hilarious. Uh,
Didn't know that either.
Sean and Shauna Lufko from Motoskivvies. He said it's really confusing for some of their like Asian clients and some of their like Asian manufacturers, that like they don't realize that they're speaking in emails to 2 different people.
That's
Um,
really funny.
he said it gets really confusing for them. Like they'll email him and they'll be talking about a conversation they've had with her, and he doesn't know anything about it. Um, he said it's really quite difficult sometimes, but also funny when it's, "Hey man, you married a woman named Shauna." So
So, do you have anything new?
he's updated. He's updated the line a little bit. Like when you rode, and the ones that I still have, the the waistband would like pull down, and you'd kind of have some like plumber's ass going on.
Yeah, it's really too low
Um,
in the back. The
yeah,
original ones were.
yeah, that's been fixed. And they've got some other gear. We didn't have a whole lot of time to talk. We mostly talked about how uh, third day of trade show sucks for everyone. He's like, "So how do you like the show?" I was like, "Everybody seems pretty burnt out." He goes, "Yeah, man, it's been like we've done 2 12-hour days basically, and this is the third one, and everybody's checked out of their hotel, and we've all got to go home, and it's like, oh, I just got to get through today." Um,
It's. I mean, that's the way I think it is for people at AIM, but it's a little bit longer. So the last day at AIM is like a madhouse with the public.
mhm.
It's never good for us.
Yeah, he
As you're talking, I'm like looking for because when you mentioned the earplug thing,
yeah,
there's a woman down here in South Florida, and I could have sworn it was like the earplug lady or something like that
uh-huh,
out of Miami, but she does custom molded earplugs with speaker drivers built into them.
sure. So
So I found this place that may be doing the same thing, but go ahead.
So, we walked up and down those aisles and ran into another company doing the same thing, except this guy's like customer engagement level was about 5 times higher, um, which is really nice. He was addressing people, as they showed up, boom, 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 boom. He got me. I was like, "Hey, I've got a question," because I really was interested in a pair of like single driver custom in ear, motorcycle
Explain to
headphones.
me what the difference is between the drivers and why you would want more than one or not more than one.
I wish I knew.
Okay.
I honestly, I've been perfectly happy with my single driver ones, and so I haven't felt the need to pay the extra money for any kind of dual driver uh, ear in-ear speaker.
Yeah, whetstones.
Yeah, I have a pair of Westone UM10 or something.
Yeah.
I've owned a couple. I have broken or lost them and bought them again a few times, and they've changed model names. They used to be UM1s, and now I think they're UM10 Pro or something. Uh, Jessica has them as well. We both use different tips that go on them to go into your ear. And personally, I have a lot of trouble for some reason with my right ear. The It doesn't want to stay inserted into my ear canal in some helmets, and then it pulls out, and I hear a lot of extra noise, and it's very annoying, especially because it's not balanced from one ear to the other. Um,
I have the same problem. They don't fit right, and
yeah,
the ear canals is kind of off. And I've experimented with, the little Christmas tree attachments or the foam round barrel things, because I have
mhm,
like those Etymotic, whatever they are, ER1s or something.
yeah,
And the part of the problem with those are the barrel, like the driver, the body of the thing are pretty long.
right. The ones I have are, think of like a hearing aid. They're like turned so that they're parallel with your head while they're inside your ear.
Right.
So they're actually like inside that little area just outside your ear canal. Um, and then the cord goes out and then up over the back of your ear and hangs down. So I asked the guy, I said, okay, cool. I'm on a motorcycle. This is what I'm looking at, what I want. And I was like, how much are those, how much do they cost? He's like, well, they start at 160. And I was thinking to myself, okay, well, my Westones are 100 bucks.
Mhm.
So, an extra $60 to have molded in ear, custom to my ear, uh, things that should keep me from having to have my fit issue sound like a great idea. I'm like, okay, cool. Then yeah, I think I want to do this. And he's like, all right, cool. So he briefly says, oh, these have a Kevlar cord. Like the cord, the insulation of the wiring is like lined with Kevlar, so it's super.
Mhm.
It doesn't like break when you pull on it or whatever. Um, so he goes on a little bit about it, and then I'm like, okay, cool. He sits me down. He squirts a bunch of shit in my ears. Um, then like he does that, and then he comes back. He does another one, whatever. I don't really understand the process, and he's moving like a mile a minute. He's got like people in and out of chairs, squirting in their ears, doing like he's got a lot of customers, moving a lot of product. Um, and then he finally comes back. He's like, okay, cool. So I've got you down for the M1 motorcycle, single driver. That's going to be 485.
Mhm.
And I was like, what? Four? And he's like, and I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, I thought you said that they started at 160. He's like, well, that's for these recreational use ones, which aren't really like the level of sound deadening that you'd need for a motorcycle, blah, blah, whatever. He goes on, and then he goes, and they don't have the Kevlar cord, and et cetera, et cetera. Like he basically tells me all the things that are not compatible with what I'm going to do. And he goes, these are lower profile Kevlar cord, blah, 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 blah. They start at 4.25, and then the shipping and blah, blah. I'm like, well, I didn't, I didn't know that going in. Like, I don't need that.
And that's not what he
Uh,
said either. Right.
right. I was like, I don't want that. I mean, I know I've been in this, industry. I've in the wacky in-ear monitors industry enough to know that that is not a bad price. That is a perfectly reasonable, normal price for custom molded earphones of the quality he says they are. But at the same time, I wasn't told that up front, and so I was like, yeah, that's more than I'm comfortable with just blowing right now. I need to like plan for that a little bit. So yeah, I'm not gonna do that. And so I went on my way, but it just made me feel like I hated that experience.
But he already squirted the crap in your ears?
Yeah, he just had to throw it away, I guess.
All right, so I'm looking online now just to give you a difference. There's a company that and I don't wanna pull this name up right now, but so they're custom stereo earplug speakers. You have a choice of different size shielded wire. It says a 22-inch, 3.5 foot, or 4.5 foot. There's no added charge for that. The single drivers, no added charge. A dual driver, which just says 2 drivers in each ear, is $80. And then ear impressions, this is a little confusing. It says no, need a fitting kit, which is $10. Or it says yes, you have my impressions. Or then it says no, I will ship to you, which means you're going to cut your ears off and send them to her, I imagine.
So you can go to an audiologist and they'll make an ear mold for you. And then you can send that in. So like, I don't know if I can get that done through anybody in the Navy for free, but like, I know that it's a thing you can get done. You go to an audiologist, they make an ear mold of you.
So their base price for the single driver is $239.
Yeah.
And then they charge you like a little bit for shipping. First class United States Postal Service is $440, and then they also have an option to get some custom earplugs at a discount when you buy these. But
yeah, I definitely, like, when he explained what was going into them and whatever, like, I've looked at some of the custom ones and his price didn't seem completely out of line. But at the same time, like, it wasn't told to me up front. And it's like, wait, you want to charge my card $485 when the only number you have said to me up at this point is 160? Like,
yeah, that's kind of bullshit. It's like bait and switch, really.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was intentional or if it was just because he had 1,000 customers and I didn't ask the right question and he was, and that was it. Like, because he was talking to like 10 different people when he was talking to me. Like he answered my question and then moved on to the next person while I decided whether or not I wanted to spend $160 on them. So I don't know. I'm not going to say who it was. It wasn't like, it just was a crappy experience. And to be honest, if I'm going to spend that kind of money on a set of like custom molded ones, I'm going to probably like do my research, find the company that I really want to plunk a shitload of money down with, and then do,
Well, let me know what you find out, because I really wanted to go to these only because at speed, it's really hard for me to hear the in-ear speakers for this because of my deafness,
I've ridden with those. You and I at AIM the first time I went, we got those Etymotic earplugs.
Yeah.
And I've ridden with those a few times. And they're okay, but they're not that comfortable.
No, they're not. No, and I can only use those things for about an hour, and they start to really hurt.
Yeah.
And I've shot with molded earplugs for years, and the one thing I always learned was you got to use some sort of, I used to go to the range and watch guys stick these things in their mouth to lube them and put them in their ear. And I'm like, that's fucking disgusting, with your ear wax on that stuff. But they make a gel for these if you don't want to do that.
I have that stuff.
Yeah, and I actually started to use that, a little bit of spit on the little Christmas tree plugs for the Etymotics, because when I went away recently, and I tried to have a phone conversation or listen to music at speed on the bike, it was really difficult. So put in the earplugs, and then it's doing double duty. It's filtering out all the excess noise, the road noise. So you're protecting your hearing and having a decent listening experience. So let me know what you find out. I'm going to look more into this one website I'm looking at, which appears to be local to the South Florida area. And I may try these. I might maybe I can go get fitted if they're not that, they appear to be someplace close by. But
yeah, like I think for me, like I'd probably, like Jess and I were talking about it, like I'm going on a deployment in February. So like maybe I'll just, come back after that and get something done when I get back. I'm going to research them for sure, but like I can't just plunk down $500 on a whim today,
No, that's a lot of money. Even $239 is a lot of money for a set of speakers, earplug speakers.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I'm going to take a look at these and see. So anyway, back to IMS, I think what you're describing is very similar to the Miami one, but on a much larger scale and encompassing more things. But I also think the vendors that are selling stuff, they just want to get stuff out of their booth. They want to get it sold.
Yeah.
You know, because
There
we
was
even
beef
noticed at the
jerky.
game there were some people. Well, I don't even mean that. I mean motorcycle stuff. Like, remember the
Yeah.
Baxley guy for the wheel chocks? Like on the last day, they were like, whatever he had left, he was giving great discounts on, just so he didn't have to ship it home.
Right. That might have been a maybe if I'd hung around a little longer, I could have gotten a sweet deal on something.
Something you don't need.
Yeah.
Talking about bikes, did they roll? I mean, we had uh EICMA that was
Mhm.
last week, right? Or the week before
Yeah.
that. And I saw we talked about it on Slack, but there's been some killer bikes coming out. That Kawasaki bike is I'll get a picture of that up, man. I think it's just badass.
Yeah, so the Kawasaki was not there, um, that I saw, unless I completely missed it, but I feel like they would have kinda made a big deal about it if it had been there, and I walked around their booth briefly, and I didn't see anything. Somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, they were totally there." I'm like, "Oh, I guess I'm just blind." Um, Royal Enfield had the Himalaya there, and,
Mhm.
you couldn't sit on it, it was, like, up on a pedestal. All of Royal Enfield's bikes were, like, up on raised platforms. They didn't have anything you could actually, like, sit and play
Why?
with. I don't know, probably because it was all, like, clay and not real. I don't really think that. It was probably just how they wanted to design their booth. They had a pretty small booth too. Um, but they had that, and they also had a couple of their new 650 twins, which are, like, dead ringers for my generation of Triumph Bonneville.
Yeah, I kind of saw those. Those were
Um,
neat.
yeah, they look less like Bonnevilles in person than they did in the pictures that I saw, but I just don't trust anything that they make to be good. Um, they've got a long way to go with me, I think, to from before I'm willing to, you know, trust them. Like, because their 500s make practically no power, and they fall apart all the time. Uh, and so the
Yeah.
650s, I'm like, okay, cool. So you
After I
put
rode that, after I rode the Continental, I was really disappointed because I really wanted one, and everybody I know that bought one has gotten rid of it.
yeah. The only person that I ever saw that owned one, I saw, like, at the DGR a couple years ago. He was riding it again this year, and he had a girl on the back. So obviously it's working for somebody. Uh,
Well, some people
but
like it. I mean, they like the style. They're not really riding it a lot.
yeah, maybe he
So
does. I don't know.
if you're on YouTube right now, I'm screen sharing, and if you want to go back and watch this on YouTube, you can see it. But I'm screen sharing the new Kawasaki, the Z900 RS, and
Yeah, in
it's
the green and white.
yeah, the green and white, and it's got the little mini bikini screen on the front. And
Hmm.
man, I really dig this bike a lot.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I like the way it looks. It's got nice lines. It's got the hump seat in the back for a pillion that kind of gives it a little bit of a cafe bump look in the back. But I think this thing's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's got that kind of ducktail in the back that
Yeah,
similar to the old one, and
because of where the suspension is, here buried inside, it
yeah.
for a nice clean look in the rear.
Yeah, I know that, like, Phil and some of those guys on the Cleveland Moto podcast don't like how high the rear tire or how high the tail is compared to the rear tire, but I think it looks fine.
I think it looks good too. I think it's a great looking bike.
Yeah.
That's not a concept bike, which is really kind of the cool thing about it is that's, a production motorcycle that's coming out.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the other bikes that we were talking about were concepts. So,
Right. The so like I said, I told you a minute ago that Jess, I was having Jess sit on, like, every smallish bike that we could find. Um, because I'm trying to help her sort of feel out what she wants, and she definitely um puts a high value on how the bike looks.
mhm.
I mean, I do too, but I don't think quite as high. I can handle, like, a little bit of ugliness or, like, a slight funky thing. if the bike rides really good or if it does what I need it to do or whatever. Um, for her, like it's like the way it has to be kind of cute looking for her. Like, it all has to tie in nicely
All women are like that, though.
um and so like she really liked the XSR 700,
Hmm.
which, is like Yamaha.
Same
uh
size as the 900, or scaled down a little bit.
it's a little smaller. So just like the FZ07 is a little smaller in pretty much every way from
Hmm.
the FZ09, it's the same thing. And so she sat on that and got to kind of feel the weight of it and the riding position. She really liked the way it looked. Um, and she likes the vaguely retro styled XSR, because like the XSR does not look that retro really.
No, but it's still good looking. I mean, it's
It
a
is good
modern
looking.
kind of retro bike, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, she doesn't like the FZ07 and the FZ09. Like she thinks they look silly.
Mm.
Um, and so like there's just enough attention to a older aesthetic that she likes the look of the XSR 7 and the 9. But she sat on the 7, really liked it. I got her to sit on the 390 Duke. Uh, she didn't like anything about it really.
Why?
Um, well, she doesn't like the way it looks. She's not a huge fan of orange, so KTM is probably not her motorcycle of choice.
Right.
Um, Considering like you can't buy a KTM that's not orange.
Or at least got some orange on it. I mean, the street bikes were like black with a hint of orange or white with a hint of orange, but there was still plenty of orange on the bike.
Yeah. And she also she said on the 390 Duke, it felt like she was perched on the very top of the motorcycle. The the whole thing feels like you're kind of like crouched on top of it instead of being kind of in it. She liked the 690 Duke position a lot more. I don't know if she really liked the way it looked though. Probably not.
How about that? Were those Huskies there?
I didn't see any Husqvarnas. They didn't have a booth or anything. I was really hoping to see the Vit Peelin or the Svart Peelin like in person, but not today.
I'm hoping those show up at the local dealer.
Yeah, that'd be cool. There's a Husky dealer here too.
The more I look at them, the more I like them. They're pretty
Yeah.
neat.
I remember when I showed Jess the concept, she was like, "That looks really weird." And then I showed her the production one and again like the little 360 or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, okay, that makes more sense now."
So, like, I caught a bunch of pictures from EICMA, not to change the subject, of some
Yeah.
weird bike with two sets of wheels on the front.
Oh yeah, this Yamaha that's got like
Yeah.
two front wheels side by side.
And Valentino Rossi's like sitting on it, smiling, like, "Yeah, I'm gonna race this." Like, no.
Yeah. It's an odd little concept. Um so
You got me
apparently Roland,
a new
go
bike.
ahead.
You got me jonesing for a new bike.
Yeah, me too. Apparently Roland Sands is involved in everything. I just saw a video like last night. I was on Facebook or whatever, where Anthony Kiedis from Red Hot Chili Peppers really wanted a R1200 RTP, like the police version.
Right?
And he got in touch. I guess he said he was searching around in the internet and he saw a bunch of pictures of Roland's work. Got in touch with him and had him like customize an R1200 RT for him. And he was kind of talking about how he used to ride. He rides a Harley. Like he has a Harley, and then he also has this new BMW, and how it was really awkward for him switching from the Harley to the BMW because he'd never ridden a bike like that before. Um, And so he said, like, for the first couple of days, he was like riding it like a kid learning how to drive a stick for the first time. It was all like super jerky. And so, but something clicked and he just loves it now. The bike was cool looking. It had a little bit of Roland Sands touches to it. I wasn't a huge fan of every particular part that he put on it, but whatever. He did a bike. And then I'm at IMS, and Redondo Beach Police Department has a Honda Africa Twin now as a police bike.
What do they do with it?
I don't know. Probably the same thing that they do with any of the other police bikes. But they have an Africa Twin police bike that is got Roland Sands Designs logos on it. Like it says, Redondo Beach Police, and it has their colors and everything, and it's beautiful. Like it's this silver and blue that's not available from Honda. Very, very nice looking bike. And yeah, it's got Roland Sands Design logo like on the tank. And it showed there was like a little placard that's like, designed by Roland Sands. And there were two Redondo Beach police officers there talking about it in the Honda booth.
I'm kind of wondering now, like I'm looking at his website and they've got this BMW on here, Anthony Kiedis's bike.
Yeah.
There just doesn't seem to be what did they add to it? I mean,
not much. If you look at the valve covers, like the
it's
cylinder head covers,
it's just looks, right? They didn't build any performance parts or anything, right?
I'm not sure.
But the point I was trying to make is maybe he'll branch off into, because they already have manufacturing set up. It's easy for them to build whatever they want.
Yeah.
Branch out into more touring and adventure stuff, then you think?
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he kind of wants to be in everything, it seems like.
That's
Something
a nice
that I know.
bike, actually. I like that better than the K bike too.
Oh yeah, the R1200 RT.
Yeah,
for sure. It's like really nice looking. It still feels like an old gentleman's motorcycle. I sat on one today with Jess on the back, and like it definitely, they want to tell you it's a sport tourer at the dealership, but it doesn't feel like one. I mean, maybe when you're riding it, but
no,
it definitely feels like big
yeah, it's
touring bike.
portly and kind of relaxed position. I think a Goldwing's more of a sport tourer than this is, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially the new Goldwing, which is even like smaller with a little bit smaller wheelbase and stuff. But
the front end of the new Goldwing looks interesting. The Honda booth, man, at like 10:30 or 11 o'clock, like an hour after the show opened, the Honda booth was freaking packed. They had 3 or 4 Goldwings. There were like tons and tons of people crowded around every single one, asking representatives questions and like staring at this new crazy front end, because it has it doesn't have a typical telescopic fork front end.
On the Goldwing?
Yeah, the new Goldwing does not have, it has a BMW-ish front end.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until somebody at BMW told me that the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, I didn't notice.
Oh wow, because when you look at a picture of it, you kind of can tell now that you pay attention. See, I think the front of the bike looks like an ST1300 too. I mean, I honestly love the way this bike looks. I think it's a much better looking motorcycle.
It really is nice looking.
Okay, so here's the thing: is they're running Apple CarPlay on this.
Yeah.
The BMW's TFT runs Apple CarPlay. It's got a Honda app in it, but they could add that to anything that's got that TFT screen.
Oh yeah.
That's a cool looking bike. And there's a picture in Cycle World with it side by side next to the last generation Goldwing.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, man, what a sharp looking motorcycle. And you can tell from looking at this, you can see the front suspension is completely different.
Yeah.
Man, I'd love to go sit on one of these. I'd actually like to go rent one and ride it for a day.
Yeah, that'd be really nice. Wait.
There's an 18 Honda Goldwing Valkyrie as well.
Oh, I wonder if that's the bagger now.
No, this is a naked bike. This is a Valkyrie naked bike. And my God, is it ugly.
Oh man. Is that real?
I don't know. But that thing is god awful. Is that a concept bike?
I don't know. It's definitely I don't see any
be a concept of some type. God, is that thing ugly.
Yeah, I don't see any like real websites talking about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's a lot of
this is fake news.
Well, there's a lot of websites that I've like never heard of before that are talking about it. But that sounds like a terrible idea.
God, is that thing ugly? So yeah, you know, like I would definitely see a Goldwing in my future at some time.
Yeah.
Maybe when I'm a little bit older, but I've ridden with guys that were in their 70s that were shredding on Goldwings.
Yeah.
The guy that I knew that lived in North Carolina that had a whole collection of motorcycles, and it was at the V-Strom rally years and years ago, and I couldn't keep up with this guy. He was just dragging it in every corner and flying on this thing. So they're nice motorcycles, and especially if did you sit on one with Jess? Did you do like the two
No,
up?
there were so many people around, and like I don't really have an interest in one in the near future. So I was just like, okay, cool. These are interesting looking. Moving on.
Because the bagger version looks kind of cool, like a
It
lot
does.
better than that FS6B thing that they came out with.
Yeah, the new F6B is the new bagger version.
They still
It
call it
does
that?
look nice.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
cool.
we didn't look at those. We did. So the bikes that we sat on together were the. My brain is not working right now. Oh, we sat on the R1200 RT together.
Mhm.
It felt super comfy and probably not what I'm going to buy in the future if I buy a bike, but still really nice. We sat on the Africa Twin together. That was okay, except that the bags on the Africa Twin get in the way of the passenger foot pegs
That's
a
the
little
same
bit.
with the Moto Guzzi too.
Yeah. So I'd need different bags than the ones from Honda.
What are they? Do you know what they are?
No, I didn't look that close. They, they say Honda all over them though.
Right. Just on a side note, the MSRP for the Goldwing Tour,
Yeah.
26,700.
That's about this. I mean, that's the same as a BMW K1600 GTL, which is like the same style of bike.
Holy shit, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. It is a lot of money. We sat on those. We sat on the Super Adventure, the KTM 1290 Super Adventure R,
Mhm.
which I really liked. She didn't like as much. The position of the rear exhaust of the exhaust kind of gets it like her heel would touch it
Mhm.
on the while it was on the foot peg, and she's like, that's kind of annoying. Plus the seat is really flat, like it's a it's a straight up dirt bike seat, which she prefers to sit a little higher now that she's had that opportunity. And then we also the first bike at KTM we sat on, which is kind of why I went to their booth in the first place, was the Super Duke GT. And oh boy, I want one of those.
Those are nice.
I haven't even ridden one, and I just want one. Like,
You keep
just
you keep driving this conversation back to KTM.
I know it's stupid. Like the
We're
whole
just gonna change the
part,
name of this podcast to the KTM Fanboy Podcast.
right?
People out there
Has
listening right
Spencer
now,
on all the
you
time.
guys shut up about KTM already.
But yeah, like the something I didn't know. I looked it up and I read it today. The Super Duke GT shares like 90% of its self with the Super Duke R. So, like, basically all of the hooliganish jackassery that the Super Duke R is built for translated right over to the GT, except bigger gas tank, beefier subframe for a passenger, and saddlebags. And the saddlebags were super nice looking. They gave Jess plenty of room for her feet, and there's still enough room for a full face helmet in each one of them.
Really, because they look super narrow.
They do, but I opened one up, and they're decently roomy, and they come off pretty easily. The way they come. Do you know if they've changed? So does yours have the factory bags on it?
It did, but I took them off.
Okay. Did they have like a recessed handle in the top and you like pushed down into the lid to like open them?
No, it was a different, and the factory bags on the 1290 SA people complained a lot about, because if you got even a little bit of dirt, you kind of pulled out on a handle for these things and it released, but if you got a little bit of dirt in these things, they jammed up pretty bad.
Oh, I don't know what the deal is with the new ones, but the new 1090 and 1290 they share the same bags. And then the Super Duke GT,
Wait, the 1290R's got bags?
yeah.
Or are you talking about the T like I have?
No, they haven't. You can put bags on the R. The R has all of the attachment points for the bags that are on the T and the 1090.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting, because I was under the impression that that bike didn't have any bags on it.
Yeah, you can have a top case and with a backrest and everything.
I like the R a lot.
Yeah, it was really nice. Then something I'd never heard of. They're running through the spiel about the 1290, and they're like, and then it has lean angle sensors. I'm like, yeah, I know about that. Cool. And when you get over to 10 degrees, this one cornering light comes on, and then you get to 20, and this other cornering light comes on, and you get to 30, and another cornering light comes on. And I was like, okay, cool. What the hell's a cornering light? And they were like, well, think about it. You lean over, your headlight is no longer pointed in the direction you're going. The cornering light points in the direction you're actually traveling.
Mine has that.
Yeah. I hadn't heard about that before.
Yeah, and it works. It's actually really nice. Well, I thought it was kind of goofy. As a matter of fact, when they first came out with it, everyone was talking about, oh, can you reflash that thing so they're just driving lights? But it doesn't make sense because they're pointed in those funky directions.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it works great. You go into a corner and you light up the corner as you're going through.
That's really
Now
cool.
apparently they've changed it. Mine, the lights are like built into the fairing on the side.
Yeah.
I think the new ones, it's built into the headlight.
Yeah, it is. They have that new kind of like two-piece uh headlight that's like split down the middle.
Right.
It looks like Deadpool's face. Like the little Deadpool face
Yeah,
icon.
kind of weird. Yeah.
But yeah, they're in like the bottom of that now.
So you know what's really kind of crappy here?
Hmm. The KTM's website?
No, they don't. Well, that for 2018, my bike appears to be gone.
Yeah, I don't know if it's 100% accurate. Like the guys at the KTM booth um definitely talked about it as if it still existed. The T.
They're not even showing it to you. They're showing a 1090 Adventure, a 1090 Adventure R,
Yeah.
a 1290 Super Adventure R, and a 1290 Super Adventure S.
Yeah.
So the T wouldn't even, I mean, you wouldn't really have anywhere for the T to even fit, if I'm not mistaken, because the S bike looks like it takes up where the T left off.
Yeah, I think I may have been on the S.
It's got mag wheels.
Yeah. Yeah, the S is the one that I was sitting on.
Hmm.
Now
Because
I'm going to go look at the R.
this is the newer front end and everything. You know, this
They
has
did.
got this kind of bums me out a little bit.
The Super Adventure R definitely has the same mounting points though for saddlebags. I
Okay.
remember cuz it was funny. I'm standing there talking to the guy about the bike and Jess is like poking this little hole above the exhaust and like looking inside of it trying to figure out what it is. Um and the guy was like, "You wondering what that is?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm just like what is this stupid little like it's just this random little like pocket." And he was like, "Oh, that's where the saddlebag mount like fits into." Because I guess Jess was like really staring at it.
She like picked that thing out of everything, right?
Yeah, out of this whole motorcycle, she's like, "Wait, what is that weird little plastic thing or metal thing? I don't know what it is." But she's like starts poking in this little hole. Like, what the hell? Why is this here?
So apparently the engines, there's no difference. It doesn't seem like. Maybe I'm wrong, but
From yours to the new one?
yeah,
Probably not.
being here, the chassis looks to be different a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a different chassis. Yeah. Hmm. And it doesn't. So this one has the semi-active suspension, which the R bike doesn't. I noticed.
No?
No,
Oh.
no, the R bike's not electronically controlled like mine is. There's just adjusters on the top.
Oh, that's interesting. Because yeah, the Super Duke GT and the S both had, you could see like electrical connectors going into the tops of the forks.
Okay, so the other thing that I think was that additional, maybe not. Yeah, moto slip regulation, MSR, was
Yeah.
the other option, but that I could have got with mine. Now they're offering a quick shifter, the
Hmm.
hill hold control, uh, that KTM My Ride looks like it's an option.
That's what it's called. My Ride. That's the phone Bluetooth
Yeah.
thingy.
Quick Shift Plus, and I'd have to look through here and see what the difference on these are. The quick shifter's kind of cool.
Yeah. The quick shifter system that BMW has is really nice on the K1600. It's pretty good on the 1200 GS.
Have you ever
Pretty
tried
decent.
one?
Yeah, the ones I've tried on both of those BMWs, and the on the BMW they say like you don't have to close the throttle at all to upshift,
Hmm.
just upshift. And on the 1200 motor it was pretty jerky. On the 1600 motor, like even from first gear into second gear, you could barely feel anything happening. Um, then downshifts were freaking amazing. Like every downshift was as if you did the perfect throttle blip to match revs and like smoothly entered the gear below. Like it was phenomenal
That's what this
on
moto
both.
flip regulation software does too on the KTM.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then slipper clutch doesn't hurt either
Yeah.
because that works great. Yeah, so they're showing like a bunch of accessory packages too, which is like just Tour Tech crap. Did I hear that Tour Tech USA is going out of business or filed for bankruptcy?
Um, I'm not sure. I might have been Touratech, like German, like Touratech itself. Look that up because I remember reading that.
So these hard bags, that they're listing as an option for this S model are they're giving you the Tour Tech option if you want.
Okay,
Um,
hey, so real quick, Touratech, the German adventure company Touratech filed for bankruptcy due to a temporary inability to meet the demand of a growing adventure bike market. Touratech USA is an independently owned U.S. company, as in good financial condition, and will not be impacted by the restructuring in Germany.
okay, cool. So it's got
And that
nothing.
was from August 14th, 2017,
All right.
at Ride Apart.
You got the facts right here on Cafe Racer Podcast.
Indeed.
Well, now I'm really want another motorcycle. But you know
Yeah,
what?
me
I,
too.
I don't know what I want. There's so much cool stuff out there right now.
Yeah, I pretty much
Honda,
narrowed it down.
Honda I like, man. The 1000, the CB 1000.
Yeah.
There's a lot of neat stuff out there. What have you narrowed it down to?
If like we were talking about it in the car on the way here, and it's really down to um big question of do I want an adventure bike or not? Um if I don't, then it's the FJ09 or the Super Duke GT. Um I'd have to ride a Super Duke GT to really know, but I don't think I can't imagine a world in which that wouldn't be amazing. Um
Yeah, but what? Not to just to play, you know, devil's advocate. If you're gonna get the Super Duke GT, why the difference between? Wouldn't you want a bike you can also do a little bit more off-road traveling on?
Right. So that's the kind of if I do want an adventure bike, then it's probably either a GS or a super adventure. Um,
Right.
because the super adventure had a couple of little minor things that were going to bother Jess more than the Super Duke GT would, because like
Like,
just the placement of the exhaust for one, and possibly the saddlebags. I'd probably end up. There's a good chance I'd end up putting aftermarket bags or something on, or just soft ones. Who knows? But the seat as well, like the flat seat, would be not as good. Like, because Jess and I were, would like to be able to take even like a short, like a couple days trip together, and her being as comfortable as possible is not, it's not super far down on the priority list, really. Like, if she can't sit in the saddle all day, then that's going to be a problem.
right.
So,
That's a big thing.
the placement of the exhaust was sort of so that it made, her left foot could like relax all the way down, but her right foot would sit on like the heat shield.
Right.
I don't know if I don't know what could be done about that, to be honest. Maybe there's a short little pipe that somebody makes for it that doesn't go up there.
I've actually seen exhausts for this where it's flatter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And wings may actually make it. No, I think about it, but
That'd be worth looking into if I, were to go that route.
I'm happy with mine as an adventure bike, and I'm going to keep it.
Yeah.
I may play around with different options for some bags though for around town. Just because I like to have like the idea of having something I can lock. Now, but I'm more like wanting to get a different street bike, honestly.
Yeah.
It's weird the TV just changed. No, it's
Yeah,
like
I've been seeing
a
it kind
red.
of like, flip around a little bit. We sold Jess's Suzuki GS 500.
Yeah, you told me that. I'm glad. I'm glad you got rid of it. What is she riding now? What did she
She
get?
has a Nighthawk 250.
Yeah, it's a much better bike for her to learn on, I think.
Yeah, I think the GS 500 would be good for a slightly larger person, but she's so short that it's like really, like every bike is really pushing it for her to feel comfortable on. And I know she
Has
knows
she
that
been
once she, go ahead,
how much has she been on it?
on the Nighthawk.
Yeah.
Um, she's gone out. I think she has left the parking lot 3 times now.
Mhm.
She went out by herself one day. We went out and rode around the neighborhoods together one day, and then we rode to like a Starbucks a few miles away one day.
Mhm.
A lot of it's just time too, though. Like with the kids, she takes them to school in the morning and then goes to work, and then she comes home and goes, picks them up and comes home. It's like there's not a lot of opportunity for her to ride, whereas like I can ride to work every day. If I worked later and I took the kids to school, she could ride to work every day.
How far does she have to ride?
To get to work, oh, like nothing, like 3 miles. Like she could legitimately come home, switch to the bike, and then ride. But like once you're already out of the house, like what? Why are
No,
you
I
gonna go?
got that.
Nobody
Right.
wants to go back home.
Right. No, that's a good bike for her, and then she'll feel comfortable on it and want to get something else after a while, hopefully.
Yeah, we were talking about that too. Like on the way back, she's kind of thinking, um, since most of her riding is probably going to be like planned out. Like, oh, I'm gonna ride to this place on this day. Maybe she should look at a smaller bike that could be set up for touring, like I don't know, like an F800 GS or something. Because like the F800 or even the G650, I'm pretty sure they both come in lowered suspension and lower seat from the factory.
I don't think it's that low though, is it?
They're not super low, but like once she's comfortable, she'll be a lot better, like a lot more comfortable with the height.
Mm-hmm.
I think anyway. Like I can't flat foot on a lot of tall motorcycles, but you just kind of
You do the
you
one
get
cheek sneak.
yeah, you just get used to that, and then
Right.
you
I mean,
prepare yourself.
that was never a requirement for me to ride a motorcycle, was to have both feet flat on the ground. I understand why it is for a lot of people for security reasons, but I mean, you can't ride a dirt bike and stop and put both feet flat. You got to kind of lean off to one side of the bike. The suspension travels so long.
Yeah, and like she can't get feet flat on the Nighthawk even. Like her feet are on the ground, like both of them can touch the ground, but she can't get both flat.
Are you kidding me? That bike is so low. What's
I know.
your inseam, like 30 or less than that?
Probably 29 inches, I think.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah. Like my inseam is like 34 or something, and she's like 29.
Yeah, mine's 31. So I'm kind of in between with pants. Like a 30 is too short, 32 is a little long. So,
Yeah.
but, and, in the suspension setting on the KTM, if it's in like 2 up with luggage, it was funny because I forgot I had it on that from the last trip. So the preload was dialed way up and the bike
Yeah.
was sitting a lot higher. And I went to go stop and I'm like, where's the ground?
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh crap, I got the preload cranked all the way up with the
Is that electronically adjusted on yours?
yeah. And when you change it, you can actually feel the bike move. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I felt that on the K1600 when I rode it. I was sitting at a stoplight and I went from, solo rider and no gear to 2 up with luggage.
I actually
You
have
could
to
feel
take
it.
mine in because there's a setting in the ECU where they can, because I think they said that the rider weight that they use from the factory is 180 pounds, maybe.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
there's a setting where they can dial that up or down
Oh, that's
by
cool.
a certain percentage. So I'm going to go in and have it dialed up on this because I've always ridden it with single rider and luggage, and then I'll just be able to put it on single rider. It'll give me a little bit more. It's it's a noticeable difference, and it's also a noticeable difference when you change the suspension, the rebound, so the whole package settings too. Between like the comfort mode, you can tell it's really kind of loose.
Mhm.
It's a little bouncy, and then you get into the sport mode, and it tightens everything up. So when you're running around faster in corners, you can feel it. The system works really well. It's a nice bike. The traction control is something I wouldn't recommend turning off.
Yeah.
It can get crazy with that off. I kind of before I even played around with it, I watched Spencer turn it off and like, you know, put a handful of throttle on there and wheelie the bike really quick.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of cool stuff out there right now. That it's
There is. There
an
really
exciting
is.
year, and I'm waiting to see what happens when these things actually hit the dealer showroom floors and go look at them. I want to see that Kawasaki. I'm hoping that. So we're talking on Slack about maybe doing a Daytona trip for
Mhm.
Bike Week. So some of the guys from the Northeast were talking about coming down, and I'm hoping that Kawasaki has that Z900 to ride.
The RS.
Yeah,
That'd be cool. I rode the regular Z900 and it was very, very, very nice.
yeah, and the price is not bad either, right?
I don't remember.
Hmm. Yeah, I keep looking through a bunch of these new motorcycle websites here with talking about new stuff that's coming out. So the only way I would do it is if I sold the 10A. You know
Yeah.
how I get when I talk about selling it, then I decide, no, it's probably not a good idea. I'll keep it. I just haven't rode the bike in a while.
There seems to be a decent amount of attachment to that motorcycle for you.
There is, but it's also, every time I ride it, I realize I'm not comfortable on it.
Right.
It's like even doing a DGR on it is kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm just too old to be in that position for a long period of time. If I
Yeah.
if I buy something else, it's going to be a standard for sure.
Yeah. And that 10A is a pretty sporty position.
Yeah, they're clip-ons. And they're kind of low, and you're a little stretched out on it. Man, it's a fun bike to ride though, just for the short time. And you rode it. It's got that feel to it. It's a little loud and obnoxious, and it's just I don't know.
So get something equally loud and obnoxious that's comfortable to ride.
I can make anything loud and obnoxious. I'm not really sure I even want to do that, but I'm gonna kick it around some more.
Yeah.
I can get good money for it if I sell it. They're crazy about them in Japan.
Hmm.
There's a big 10A owners club there.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'll also, last show we had Spencer on talking about the possibility of doing a trip with him again next year, and I may make that happen actually.
Yeah, there's actually there's a small chance I may be able to go as well.
When will you be back?
In July, and he said he's trying to make that trip happen in September, and that's when I transfer from my current command, and I'm not moving. I found out that I'll be staying in San Diego, so I'll be able to take up to a month of leave, and if I don't have to move, I don't have to do anything during that time. So, depending on timing, I may be able to go.
Okay.
Which I told Spencer the other day, so I have to figure that out. But as it gets closer, I'll know more, and you guys will know more. So
When you getting back from July, you said, or June?
yeah, in July.
In July. All right. So listen, you guys hear us talk about Slack. If you're listening to the show and you like what we do and you want to support us, go to Patreon and you can put in Cafe Racer Podcast, so it'll come up. But with the Patreon support, you get access to our Slack channel, which is private, and we have an ongoing dialogue that's
It's
pretty
like
much runs 24 hours a day.
Yeah, I wake up every morning to like 10 or 15 messages that I haven't read yet. We've recently broken out into a few different channels to kind of be able to keep discussions about specific topics sort of siloed, because we had the one channel and like, it got to be there was enough people in the channel that it was hard to understand. Like we had 6 conversations going at once.
And Scott sent me something saying, I think we might fraction this up with too many channels. And he's like, I could live in one channel all day long, but I can't, because I'll start a conversation or answer something that all of a sudden 15 answers later and we're off topic.
Yeah.
So, and especially if we're going to be planning trips and stuff like that, I felt it was necessary to put a trip channel up.
Yeah.
And
Which I think I need to add myself too.
Yeah. But
no, I'm there. No, I'm not.
We'll see how it works. If it gets too fractionated out, maybe we'll dump the random channel, because that's kind of same as general. But
yeah, that it's a little inside baseball. The random channel is a default channel from Slack, and I could have swore I deleted that thing. Like way back in the beginning, I thought I deleted that channel. Nope, it's still there.
It's like because Slack's really made for the workplace, right?
Yeah, it's like a workplace collaboration tool.
Right. And that's kind of what we use it for, but just for the workplace and motorcycles.
Yeah, and we're always, kind of inviting feedback on what we can do to give people more bang for their buck on Patreon. Like I asked for some suggestions recently, and I got some really good ones. Some of the Slack channels were sort of came from that, like the guest Q&A section, so that when we have a guest on and we tell people in advance, then we can get, hey, if you guys want to ask this person some questions, post them to this spot in Slack and we'll see them. Stuff like that.
There was something else. We got stuff to give away. What are we doing on this?
So we've got right now we're giving away a Climb Drifter jacket. I had to think about the name of it really quick. I'm going to go to the contest page and see how many people have. You have a total of 41 entries to the Climb Drifter jacket giveaway. It's a double XL. It is in what Climb calls green, which is not green at all. It's like khaki colored.
There's not a piece of that that's green. It's brown.
Bunch of colorblind bastards.
Right.
So yeah, it's a really cool jacket, kind of a waxed cotton thing. Vintage, well, not vintage, but kind of a more retro style. Are those snaps the magnetic ones?
Yeah, it's really nice.
Oh, that's so good. I have a Revener jacket and it has the magnetic snaps, and they're the best ever.
Yeah.
I want every jacket I own to have.
As soon as you zip that jacket up, they just kind of lay up real quick and clip.
Yeah.
Really,
I absolutely love them on mine.
I can tell you that jacket, I wore it just a couple times and did some photos of it, and it's really a very nice jacket. Somebody's going to get a really nice jacket. You know, they're just not to get off topic, which we usually do, but there's been a piece of
No.
gear I've been wearing around a lot that's not necessarily motorcycle specific, but I'll tell you what, it would serve really well on a bike is a Chrome Citizen bag.
Oh, yeah. Those are pretty fancy messenger bags, right?
Yeah, it's a messenger bag. I ended up, the reason I got it was I had a bunch of REI points that
Oh, yeah.
REI dollars that I didn't spend. And they had a sale in the garage. So I got the thing without paying any money. I used
Oh,
some of
nice.
my dollars and the sale was good. And I wanted something for cameras that wasn't like my typical Domke camera bag or a sling bag. I wanted something that was a little bit different that I could put a padded, 3-position camera pouch in there, and it worked out really well. Well, I took it on this trip, which I was on this weekend, which I'll tell you about in a second. But I carried that thing. Stupid me didn't really know how to carry it. Like, I just figured I'd wear it over my shoulder. I'm like, this stupid thing's uncomfortable. It doesn't really fit right. Well, dumbass, I have to go like look it up on YouTube how to wear a Chrome bag. And then when I figured out how the whole thing fits over your shoulder, like in one direction and only one direction, I'm like, wow, this is really comfortable. I don't even feel it on. And then there's like a little stabilizing strap that you can connect. So on a bike, it would be really nice. Now, it's not a waterproof bag because there's no roll in there, but it is pretty damn water resistant. And they use
Yeah.
a really heavy denier, and then the inside uses like a truck tarp type material. So it'll keep stuff dry, if you get a light rain. And it's the top's folded over pretty well as well.
Yeah.
But I went to San Francisco on Thursday, kind of did a turn and burn. I had a member of the family pass away that she was an older aunt and was kind of expected, but I went there to represent my family and I walked a lot. I didn't have a rental car. I never took Uber. I walked everywhere and carried a camera with me and like a light jacket and a bunch of other crap in this bag. And man, what a nice bag. So on a motorcycle, I could definitely see this working out in place of a backpack.
Yeah.
Bike messengers are wearing them all day long. There's not much of a difference. But if you're looking for something, they make them in a couple different sizes. But if you're looking for something to carry, a change of clothes, you're going to go to the gym or you're going to bring something to work, a laptop, and you're on a bike it's not set up for bags, this is a nice option because you can get off the bike and leave it on. You don't have to really worry about changing out of something, and it'll fit
Yeah.
over a jacket.
I've used a Aerostitch messenger bag that's really similar, similarly styled. So
I just didn't realize that, I kind of thought in the past that it was just a regular shoulder strap over the bag. I didn't realize that it's kind of a padded directional shoulder sling that's designed to go across your chest. Have you ever worn one?
Not a chrome one, no.
It's, and I'm not sure if Timbuktu is the same thing or how they all work, but the Citizen is like I said, it's got a strap on it that comes off on one side. It's designed to go over your left shoulder across the front of your chest and come out underneath your right arm.
Yeah.
And they make them in a couple different sizes too, but and a bunch of colors. The one I got, it's all black, and it's so the Citizen uses a belt buckle or a seatbelt buckle type of configuration.
Yeah, it's got like that center push button kind of.
Yeah, and what's nice about it is once you figure out that you can take like your hand and clip it and then just bring it over your head, now it's laying on your shoulder, and then unclip it and put it back on, it becomes very fast to put on and off.
Nice.
It's a nice product. I'm not doing any type of official review or anything like that, but if you're looking for some sort of bag to carry just a bunch of stuff in, like I said, check out the Chrome Citizen bag.
All right.
Anyway,
Well, I think it's going to wrap us up.
yeah, man, that's it.
So you can find us on Facebook at Cafe Racer Podcast, Instagram also at Cafe Racer Podcast, caferacerpodcast.com. And if you want to get in the contest, you can find that on Facebook, or you can just go to caferacerpodcast.com/contest, because we're super, basic and literal. We're not trying to cheat and confuse anybody here. or if you just go to the homepage, there's a button that says contest. And you can enter to win a Climb Drifter in green. I'm using big air quotes, size XXL. And that contest has another week left. It might make a great Christmas present for that burly motorcyclist in your life.
How much longer? How much longer are we going to keep this open?
There's one more week. So the Saturday after Thanksgiving, the contest will be over.
Okay. And if you join Patreon between now and then and support us, you'll get 2 entries.
That's true. You'll get an extra entry to win.
All right, man.
And yeah, we're always working on new stuff. Going to be like, there's a lot of new stuff coming out soon, like stuff that Steve and I need to talk about, but stuff. Just imagine all the kind of fun stuff. Yeah.
A lot of stuff. All right.
Yeah. All right. Get out and ride.
See ya.